Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So after recent breaking news regarding FromSoftware and Sony acquiring their parent company Kadokawa, which could eventually mean that FromSoftware becomes a first-party owned Sony company, it would be crazy if that happened. But yeah, because of this big breaking news, I thought I'd share an insight into how Sony and FromSoftware, their little relationship even started in the first place back in 2009. So I read this not too long ago regarding Demon's Souls and how Sony refused to publish it outside Japan because they felt the game wouldn't be a success. So yeah, in this video I want to just share a little bit of insight on that for anyone that doesn't know, because it is kind of ironic how Sony are looking to buy them out now, after not even giving them a chance when they first arrived on the scene and were an independent small company. So yeah, let's look into how this all started and where we are today. Sony declined to publish Demon's Souls outside of Japan, largely to its initial reception and perceived marketability challenges. Here's a breakdown of the reasons. Number 1. Poor internal reception. During development, Sony's internal team reportedly found the game clunky and difficult to play. The unique gameplay mechanics, especially its punishing difficulty and obscure systems, were seen as overly niche and unlikely to resonate with mainstream audiences. Number 2. Risk aversion. At the time, Sony was prioritizing projects with broader appeal, and Demon's Souls didn't seem like a safe bet. Its unconventional approach contrasted with more accessible titles that Sony typically published. Number 3. Underwhelming initial reaction in Japan. When the game first launched in Japan in 2009, it had modest sales and didn't immediately gain significant traction. This further reinforced Sony's belief that it wouldn't succeed in Western markets. Number 4. Localization concerns. Localizing Demon's Souls for the Western audience would have required additional investment, which Sony might have deemed unjustifiable for a game they were unsure would perform well. Interestingly, these factors led Sony to pass on publishing the game outside of Japan, allowing Atlas in North America and Bandai Namco in Europe to take up the mantle. Demon's Souls eventually became a cult classic and laid the foundation for the massively successful Soulsborne genre, proving Sony's initial assessments wrong in hindsight. So there you have it, guys. Sony initially rejected publishing Demon's Souls, but the irony of it all is, here we are 15 years later, Sony are looking to now buy FromSoftware. When FromSoftware was a small company, Sony didn't believe in them. Now that they're one of the biggest games companies out there, one of the most trustworthy and polished publishers, developers out there, Sony are like, yeah, we want to buy you now. I mean, in fact, they thought about this very early on, to be honest. When Dark Souls took off, Dark Souls 1, immediately Sony apologized and said, hey, look, we apologize. Please, we will publish your next game for the PS4 if you make it exclusive to ours. And that's what they did. They made Bloodborne. So they did notice that early on, and now they're looking at it as an opportunity to buy FromSoftware. Obviously, their main reason to buy, Kadokawa is more for some, anime studios or whatever, all that. I don't really look into all that too much. I don't even care, to be honest with you. I care about FromSoftware because it's one of my favorite companies. It also has an effect on a few Nintendo games, which don't really appeal to me, if I'm honest, but this is the effect it's going to have on other studios. But yeah, it's not nice. It's not good for the game industry, for the consumers. What if we don't want to buy a PS5 Pro like most of us don't because it's too expensive? But then what if the next Souls game appears on the PS5 Pro exclusive. I don't think that's going to happen, but let's just say it does. You're going to have to buy a £700, £800 system just to play, you know, the next Souls game. It's just one of those things. It's not good for us as consumers. I just think it's wrong, and I also think Sony need to really invest more money into their own companies rather than buying out big companies. You know, you bought Bungie, you failed. You went and bought the company that made Concord, that failed. I'm sure FromSoftware won't fail, but it's not good because it's not consumer friendly. And just buying out big companies, we saw Microsoft do it with Activision. However, the difference is when Microsoft buy companies, at least it's consumer friendly. At least Indiana Jones is coming out on PlayStation. At least Call of Duty is still coming out on all systems, right? So there's not that worry. Microsoft is making all their games available on all systems. Sony will not do that. So it's not cool. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to playing Elden Ring on the Nintendo Switch. I'm looking forward to playing the Souls games on the Nintendo Switch. And when I say Nintendo Switch, I mean the Switch 2, sorry. The Switch 2, obviously. The current Switch is not powerful enough. But yeah, when the Switch 2 comes out, I was hoping to see FromSoftware games on there. But if Sony does this deal, we might not see these games on the Switch 2. And yeah, it's not good for the industry. It's not good for consumers. And I'll be honest, I love Nintendo. Nintendo is my favorite company. But I wouldn't even want Nintendo to go out there and buy big companies, you know? Maybe go buy Platinum Games, you know, if a company is struggling to make sales, like Platinum Games, you know, they struggle, maybe go buy them out then. But if a company is not struggling, they're fine, why buy them out? You know, it's not right. I just think it's not cool. But yeah, let's see what happens. But I just thought I'd highlight this little bit of irony, how when they were a small studio, Sony had no interest. In fact, they wrote them off. Yeah, lucky FromSoftware managed to get Namco and Atlas to publish their games. Otherwise, they might not be the company we know them today. We might not have the Soulsborne genre today. You know, it's not a thanks to Sony, it's thanks to Namco. So, yeah. Maybe take a note at Nintendo's book. Look at Monolith Soft, the guys who made Xenoblade. You know, if you look at their history, they didn't really get much support from Squaresoft or Namco, but then they came to Nintendo and Nintendo backed them, and then today we've got Xenoblade Chronicles. We've got Monolith Soft helping out in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're one of the biggest RPG developers out there today. But when Nintendo bought them, who was even looking at them? They were a small studio. Nobody wanted them. Nobody even had any belief in them. Nintendo trusted them, nurtured them, and invested in them, and look how they are today. You know, look at Retro Studios, the guys who made Metroid Prime. This is it. You know, look at Rare back in the days. You know, back in the days, Rare were one of the most reliable, high quality, Western developed company out there. They revolutionized FPS games with GoldenEye, and they did platforming games with Banjo-Kazooie that could almost be as good as Nintendo's own Mario 64. So yeah, Nintendo, they don't go out and buy big companies that are already established. They buy the small ones and develop them into big companies, and that's what Sony should be doing, you know. Yeah, but anyway, let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think of all of this. Did you already know that Demon Souls was, written off by Sony? It's crazy, right? I didn't know that. So if you guys knew that, let me know in the comment section. If not, cool. Leave a like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And also let me know what you think of this whole acquisition from Sony and Microsoft. Oh, sorry. Sony and Kadokawa, right? Sony acquiring Kadokawa. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But yeah, it's not good, man. That's just my opinion. I prefer it the way it is. I'm hoping this deal doesn't go through. If it does, then oh damn. Here we go. We're all gonna have to buy a PlayStation if we want Souls games. It's crazy. But yeah, cheers for watching, guys.